an actual bombshell of disclosure about government secrecy and the cover-up of an alien crash retrieval program.
UFOs exist of non-human origin.
High-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession.
We have spacecraft from another species.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
Is he having a laugh?
I thought it was totally nuts.
You having a laugh?
News Nation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume.
We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators.
Lies.
Can't show us the proof.
Conspiracy theories.
For national security reasons.
Junk science.
He's not seen photos of the alleged craft himself.
And wholesale fiction.
But has talked extensively with other intelligence officials.
We control them.
Who have.
And we can remake them.
It gets creepier.
Putin just shot down one of these Tic Tacs and collected it. So,
Are you having a laugh?
Real UFOs that are extra-dimensional in nature have the ability to
Dematerialize.
Are you having a laugh?
extra
Dimensional. Okay? They're not physical. I mean, they're not fully physical.
Is he having a laugh?
Like I said, people just really need to read my book so that they have a background in what's real and what's not. Why are the good aliens here helping us all the time?
The Jellyfish UAP. You see that there's a dog there. You see the animals are black. I'm assuming this is black hot. You see the object just went to white, and you'll see it going from white to black, and that's basically showing the heat differential. So it's going like hot and cold, hot and cold.
Watch what happens here as this object changes colors. Oh, there it goes to black. So does the ground. Right? So it's not the object shifting in shade. It's the camera adjusting. Now look, see, there it is again. Now the object is a light colored. So because it's a balloon.
That's expected for something over 1,000 feet in the air that's not rising or falling. It just moves with the air. So there's no turbulent forces acting on it that would make it move around. In the video, we briefly see a flag fluttering in the wind. Isolating it, we can see that it is blowing to the left, to the west, in the same direction the object is traveling.
Consistent with that object being a balloon.
Some people noted that the object seems to get hotter and colder, darker and lighter in the infrared. But if you look at the background, you'll see that that changes in sync with the object, which means it's just the camera adjusting the exposure and not actually a temperature change. There are also reports that it was only visible to the thermal sensor and was not visible to the naked eye. But then, it was dark and over 1,000 feet up, so that's hardly surprising. So what does this initial analysis tell us? Well, if there were some odd-shaped balloons, maybe a few balloons covered with some streamers or other decorations, and the wind at 1,800 feet was just 10 miles per hour from the east, then this is what you would see. An ultra-terrestrial, non-human intelligence jellyfish-like creature? No, the ordinary balloons are a very common source of airborne clutter.
So this is the 29 Palms Triangle.
George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell finally released the footage of a UFO filmed by military personnel at 29 Palms, California on April 20th, 2021. It showed 5 lights that started out in a nice triangle formation. They said they were not flares, but a lot of people thought they looked like flares. And flares can actually hang around for several minutes. There were some claims that this low-light image showed a triangular craft, but that's really just the color bleed, which you can see around other objects in the scene. John Greenwald discovered that there was a big military exercise at that location on that night, with a lot going on and a lot of things in the air, including flares. John found footage of 5 flares that looked very similar. I realized this looked like it was taken from the other side, so I flipped it and overlaid it, and it's a near-perfect match. Given the coincidences with date and location, and the fact that these lights look and act like flares, then I think we can safely say that these are the actual flares that were misidentified as a UFO.
We didn't find evidence of anything extraterrestrial. No such non-human biologics. Remember, when someone says something is a non-human biologic, that could be a dog, that could be an insect.
I am John D'Souza. I am FBI Special Agent retired because I have left the FBI, but I'm trying to teach people on all these esoteric topics how to do their own investigation and find out what's really going on out there now that we're living in a time of complete and total deception.
UFO narrative is a lie of the most insidious kind. The facts are being withheld on purpose, and that is how you know they're manipulating you. Let the reader understand this gibberish UFO story is actually a blessing. For all the credentials and vouching for the whistleblower and for all the outright wasting of everyone's time. In one of those interesting kindnesses of God where the adversary's tactic backlashes on his scaly noggin, the story is doing us all a great service in exposing exactly who you can and cannot trust, to do real research, to actually care about you, the viewer. In the mainstream media, it's pretty obvious who you can't trust. It's a sweep. But now we're being shown exactly who from the alternative media, podcasters, YouTubers, who will run with anything that gets some clicks, engagement, more ad revenue. I mean, any pundit, talking head, podcast host, from News Nation to Clayton Morrison Redacted, anyone who is covering this story as if it is a real news story and presenting it to you as though it were an actual bombshell of disclosure about government secrecy and the cover-up of an alien crash retrieval program is either not too bright, flat out lying, or worse, they don't care one bit about you and whether or not you receive good and meaningful information. How do you demoralize a people? Separate them from their origin story. Separate them from God. One way you can start doing that is have something crash in the desert that looks like it might be
non-human origin.